In BFA 22, there was a part where I asked you guys if you wanted me to make a video regarding how TV did in every episode of TPOT, and a majority of you said yes, so let's just jump straight into it. If you see me around in some comment sections regarding TPOT, you know that I am one of the few people who voice my adoration for TV. Now that we know that TV has finally been eliminated in TPOT 19, I felt compelled to make a video explaining how well TV has performed in every episode as of TPOT 19 for good measure. I'll be ranking all episodes in chronological order and rank them based on usage of TV with this tier list I have here, whether it be bad usage or good usage or anywhere in between. If you disagree with some of these rankings, that's fine, feel free to state your opinion in the comments. Just to be clear, I'm not really the best at character analysis, and I'm just doing this because I thought the idea was cool when I watched TPOT 19 in Houston, and also to try and get more people to watch BFAA, so take what I say with a grain of salt if you will. Now that that's been clarified, let's start this. He's the very first character we see on screen. During Cake at Stake, he displays all the voters for Rubber Spatula, and the votes for everyone else as well as showing who the second most voted potential debuter was. During the team picking stage, he just does nothing until he gladly joins Golf Ball's team when asked, which would turn out to be Are You OK? During the challenge, he uses clips to suggest using Tennis Ball's trebuchet, which would lead them to victory, celebrating by using a clip of Fiery and Coiny slapping. Honestly, I think it could have very easily been Golf Ball to suggest a trebuchet, but most of the other teammates probably wouldn't have come up with that idea, now would they? Well, with all this, I think I'd place this episode in a kind of relevant tier, since he was the one to suggest a winning move for his team, but also did nothing during the team making stage, so I think it's a good enough balance. He displays the votes for Death Pact Again's elimination, though that detail would actually turn out to be obsolete in future episodes, so let's ignore it. For the challenge, Golf Ball instruction to make a perfectly stable stacking structure, though this part I personally find hilarious.
Make it more stable!
Anyway, TV got tired of coming up with stable stacks at one point, but called out Puffball that using glue would be cheating. But is it really? He got mad when Golf Ball dismissed the whole thing in favor of a singular block, saying, "I hate you" to her, lol. Anyway, despite his team not losing, he was just kind of there, but for comedic effect, in my personal opinion. But in any case, this is going in a, well, kind of there tier. TV's main role in the challenge was to provide a tutorial on building the blocks for his team's roller coaster, which was apparently impressive enough to get his teammates literally chanting his name, making Puffball jealous and giving her the idea to make a more interesting roller coaster, which would turn out to be very dangerous, leading her to be banned from her team for participating in the next challenge. So back to TV, his role may seem trivial to most, but from how I see it, it was actually some sort of domino effect that would lead into future episodes, which is something I find rather interesting. So because of that, I'm placing this in the pretty relevant tier. For the challenge, he calculated the reverberation rate of a David saying "aw seriously," which is not really that useful to be honest. And when David screamed "aw seriously," TV flashes the word panic on his screen while the tremor for the scream is happening. So that's not a lot to work with for this episode, but at least his team didn't lose, so there's that. Honestly, even with the reverberation rate thing, he was just kind of there, so I'm putting this episode in that tier. For some reason, he gets kidnapped by the strongest team on Earth, by accident. Later, we see that the team is using the robot fish to trick the other fish monster, which Robot Flower does not like because she kinda is a robot. Seeing this as a mechanical mind, TV suggests to self-destruct the ship before more chaos ensues, and eventually, Robot Flower gives in. TV's team lost, but his last second move probably caught some people's attention, maybe even enough so that he'd survive and about to save. If TV hadn't done what he did, the strongest team on Earth would have a higher chance of surviving, but it wouldn't have mattered that much since Are You OK lost anyway. So I'm gonna place this in a higher spot of the kind of relevant tier. After being safe and failing to get food from Fornex's kitchen, in the challenge, TV suggests that his team finds the Dreamberry, telling the team about it as well. The team uses his locator to help find the Dreamberry, which they would eventually turn into 2, granting his team safety with an 8 out of 10. Besides the chocolate ball bit, no one else really had an alternative to TV's idea, nor did anybody have objections against it, meaning that TV's role was actually pretty big this episode. With all of this, I feel comfortable putting this in the pretty relevant tier. On to the next. For the challenge, TV steps up and tells Golf Ball that she is off the team for the episode, which would indirectly lead it to her and Puffball sabotaging Just Not. When Eraser asks TV what they should do for the challenge, TV apparently doesn't seem to have an idea and just shuts off. After TV suggests using glue to fix the volcano, Eraser, Pen, and Tennis Ball use TV as transportation to get to the hotel and back quicker so they could finish their task on time. The role he had was pretty minor, but it did somewhat help the team, so I'll place this in the kind of relevant tier. During the challenge, he told everyone to jump due to an incoming rolling donut, but let's be real, anyone could have done that. A cool idea for TV was brought up, such as making some modifications for him, but all of that went down the drain thanks to Robot Flower knocking him off early, meaning TV barely did anything at all. And even worse, his team was put up for elimination, so it looked like a recipe for disaster for him. Or so he thought. Honestly, of all the competition episodes, this one uses him the least, so he was just kinda there, to be honest. After somehow being second safe, during the challenge, he suggests that Eraser and Teardrop climb on top of him to access the vents, getting both of them in a quote-unquote safe spot, while also sacrificing himself in the process, which does show his sense of loyalty and care, indicating he does have a personality. It may seem trivial, but how do you think they would have gotten to such a safe place otherwise? Sure, if Puffball survived over him, she would have probably done something similar. But nonetheless, if TV didn't pull off the move he did, who knows if Teardrop would have survived long enough for GB and TV to figure out that the cure was her. I mean, I probably wouldn't doubt it being possible considering her performance 7 episodes prior, but this is about TV, not her. So with that regard, this is going in a kind of relevant tier. He suggests to earn back the $300 vigintillion to escape Pen's nightmare, and does contribute to it, but the idea itself just made the team waste time, and instead, he just helped to try and kill Pen instead. To me, this episode felt like a teammate background character for TV, as in helping out without having any particular differentiating roles, other than things like this, I guess. Even then, his team didn't lose, but in any case, I couldn't decide where to put this, so I decided... This one's pretty straightforward. TV didn't appear at all in the episode, since it was about the Exiters. He didn't even appear in the intro. Absolutely jack squat, moving on. After the team swap, TV comforts Pen, saying that he and TV are here for him. He also calms down Tennis Ball after explaining that TV and GB have never been on separate teams. Knowing what Basketball accidentally did to Robot Flower, TV expresses that he's scared to be around her. He picks his team name to be or Bagged. However, it only went south from there. He had multiple contestants, including one of his own teammates, glued to him during the contest, so he really couldn't have done much after that. And to add insult to injury, he got thrown into Team 2's pit, and his team lost, so basically it looked like a recipe for disaster for him. Or so we thought. Wait, haven't I heard this before? Well, with all of this in mind, everything up until the challenge for him was okay-ish. Then he got thrown into the pits once the challenge came, so I'm gonna put this in a kind of there tier. Okay, I can already tell this will be one of the most controversial on this list, so bear with me. TV survives the kick and stick and gets smashed by a robot. Nice. For the challenge, he has a presentation, which TV reads from, about the giant David, and later confirmed that his team could get it to go to sleep for them to be safe. though it was Penn's idea, which is what the team ends up doing. But here's the controversial part. TV is submissively used as a distraction for David, all while being controlled by Tennis Ball, and TV just seems to go along with all of it until he gets stuck. But his team is safe anyway, so it seemingly doesn't matter. How would I rank this exactly? TV didn't do his respective task himself. He was just controlled by TV, but he was just okay with it? I mean, he was because he wanted to ensure safety for his team, which is common ground among everyone. But does it really count as him doing something? I'd argue yes, because it probably wouldn't have been possible if one of the people between TV and TV didn't cooperate. So, in that regard, this is going on the bottom part of the kind of relevant tier. Not sure how fair that rating is, but oh well, moving on. A lot of characters didn't feel like themselves this episode, and you could make the argument that TV was one of those as well. Anyway, all he really did was pilot a jetpack for his team, made a funny presentation in a cabin, and transported his team to the volcano, and almost scored victory for his team before getting shattered by Penn's cap. I can only imagine if TV won for his team, then all the "oh, TV does nothing" people would have been quiet right then and there. But nonetheless, his team lost. I felt like that almost clutch moment could have gathered more people to vote for TV, but apparently not. So where am I placing this one? To be honest, this episode didn't do a lot of characters, TV included, any favors, because apparently even number episodes around this time tend to be filler. So I'm putting this in the just kind of there tier, but higher up because he almost won for his team. For the first time, TV was in the bottom 2. But nonetheless, he was safe and played a victory clip over it. But here's the real important thing about this episode for him. Out of everyone, TV was the one to identify the anomalies in the timeline, basically setting up the challenge to retrieve the rejects and fix the past. Alongside that, he decides which team fixes what anomaly. He celebrates victory for his team and announces it was out for elimination, yada yada yada, but riddle me this. If it wasn't for TV, then who would have identified the anomalies, which would inevitably lead to everything mostly getting fixed? Nope, it can't be 2. They weren't the host when the challenge was announced, remember? The closest people in my opinion to do this would of course be the 2 Brainiac balls, but I don't even know if even they would be smart enough to make some sort of machine that would identify time anomalies of all things. So back to the tier list. This would most definitely go in the major role section because without him, the BFDI universe would have probably been cooked. This episode I find rather unique for him because it's one where we get to see him being independent for himself. He uses the background as a camouflage to hide for 4X and distracts them with an alien on the screen, comically killing the alien in the process. To be honest, I don't think TV picked really the best locations to hide in camouflage, but hey, at least his team didn't lose, right? Well, while we did get to see a side of him that we barely did see before, it unfortunately wasn't that relevant compared to other things about the episode, so I'm placing this in a kind of there tier, even above TPOT 14. At the beginning, he shows Penn a clip of Blocky's funny doings, which would inevitably lead to this part of Penn's advice towards Pencil.
I was rewatching some old Blocky's funny doings earlier. It actually ended up helping in the challenge, funnily enough. His, guidance still helped me when I needed it, even though he's not here. And I think that's important for you to remember too, Pencil.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. For the challenge, he's assigned the haunted house alongside Grassy, Donut, and Tree. TV uses his light to find out there was a giant robotic spider, which he was initially scared of. Later, as TV tried to enter the elevator with Grassy and Tree to no avail, with the spider approaching, Tree pushes him aside because he prioritizes life. To which TV says that he's also alive too. He asks Grassy to help, but to no avail, and gets caught by the spider. But here's the part where it gets interesting. So interesting that people said that it took 17 episodes for him to do something. After reflecting over the fact that there's no respect for mechanical minds, and playing the clip in TPOT 16 where Grassy realizes he can control Tree, TV decides to take on a villainous role, and control the spider to try and catch the both of them. While he did kill Grassy, apparently unintentionally, he failed at killing Tree, but not after expressing his revenge due to Tree not caring about his life. But then, after the end of the challenge, he's recovered seemingly normal. displaying the scores of all teams with his team losing. With the role he had, it looked like he had a decent shot at surviving yet again, right? Right? Oh right, the tier list. While to me it wasn't as major as TPOT 15, it was still a pretty big role, so I'm putting this at the highest spot in the pretty relevant tier. Like TPOT 11, this was a non-competition episode. However, unlike TPOT 11, TV actually does appear in the intro of this episode, giving it a slight edge above TPOT 11. But even with that, TV does nothing at all, so jack squat. Moving on. When asked to create a distraction for the silly ones, TV voluntarily pipes up and decides to host Kick at Stake, displaying clips for all the safe contestants. Even though his team got dead last the previous challenge, he deliberately did his team's Kick at Stake last to delay the inevitable. His elimination, which he announced reluctantly. Once he realized that no one seemed to care, he went on to ramble about people not respecting mechanical lives, giving him the idea to make the challenge a battle royale, to test how well everyone has respect for each other. Not too much later, Pencil killed him off because she was going on a rampage or something. Though the challenge idea he brought up would turn out to be a horrible decision later on thanks to a certain someone. But to be fair, TV most probably had no idea that it was going to turn out that brutally, despite possibly having proof and knowledge of one's existence due to having clips throughout all of BFDI. Oh yeah, this face he makes is funny too, I can't believe no one talks about that. Anyway, I think this episode was a satisfying enough conclusion for him, even for me. I'm proud of him for even making it this far and... Oh wait, where's this going in the tier list? Well, I'm stuck deciding between pretty relevant and kind of relevant. But considering that he literally got eliminated from the competition and died partway through the challenge, I think it's safer to put this in the kind of relevant tier. So, with this final tier list provided, some of you may be asking, why do you like TV so much? And the answer? I just do, I guess. If you want a reason, I'd say it's because I love his uniqueness compared to the others. He's cute, funny, and I find his concept interesting, but to be honest, I don't feel the need to justify it. This video is not meant to make others like TV or have people hate him less. If you don't like him because you find him boring, he's forgettable, or you just like everyone else on his team or overall better, then I'm perfectly okay with that. You are entitled to your own opinion. If you've seen the Daniel Squad's video about TV, then you could probably tell I took some inspiration from him to make this video, so I gotta credit him for that. If you like this video, then good, I'm glad you did. Like and subscribe if you want, and I might make more of these kinds of videos despite BFolicaSathlon being my top priority on this channel. Speaking of which, if you are one of the very few people who watch that, then I have an announcement for you. Well, I have nothing left to say now, so thanks for watching, and stay tuned.